We're here at the Aion booth at Gamescom. Can you please tell us who you are and what you do in Aion?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Volker. I'm the product director for Aion Europe Free-to-Play, and I'm taking care of the overall business of Aion, so making sure that the team can run efficiently, that things get done, things get planned, and just responsible for everything essentially.
Aion has been plugged forever with different kinds of third-party influences. And we've known of gold sellers, we've had problems with cheaters, with hackers. There's all sorts of trouble that has been trouble in every territory where Aion has been launched. Is there anything special you have in store to alleviate that situation? Or what are your general plans? Do you plan to implement some kind of an anti-hack system or what?
Well, currently we're focusing on a couple of topics there. One is the gold spammers, which of course with switching to free-to-play, we knew that we would open up the game to many new accounts, so it's much easier for gold spammers to get into the game, get an account and start advertising. So what we've actually done is we've developed a spam assassin script, as we call it, which just, and I'm not going to talk about the details here, but it just, it looks at what's happening and then removes these spammers from the game as quickly as possible. Now, of course, with anything like bots and hacks and spammers, you're always fighting a losing battle because they will find a new way and then you have to adapt. But that's something that we're constantly looking at. And I think the situation in terms, especially of spammers, has increased quite dramatically. So looking at the early days, the early weeks, there was a lot more spam going on than right now.
Yeah.
Also, we have GM staff on the servers. They're also, apart from looking at spammers, they're also looking at the known bot spots. So they will go there, they will check out players, they will get reports. There's that one bot report emote or action in the game. If players do that, these accounts have a counter and that racks up. And we're going to see, well, he's been reported like 100 times, so we're going to look really closely at it. Currently, we're not doing any automated bot prevention, simply because it's very difficult to make sure that you don't have any false positives. So before we start doing that, we want to make sure that we avoid any normal player being banned. We're also still in discussions about implementing an anti-hacking solution for the other GameForge games, or many of them. We have HackShield, and we're also in contact with Unlab, who are the developers of HackShield, for integration into Aion. The technical preparation for this has actually been done, the contract has been done, so we're currently just waiting to get 3.0 out the door. Oh, it's out the door. So that's one of the topics that we're also going to be looking at in the weeks and months now after 3.0.
Awesome.
But HackShield is still planned, and hopefully we can get it out this year even.
Awesome. That's great news. Well, does that mean that you're going to launch 3.5 this year as well? No. Well, what's the timetable for 3.5?
Well, we're talking here in the press area about 3.5, so we're introducing the contents there. We will be, and that's one of the other focus topics after 3.0 is of course getting the next updates live, is polishing 3.0, getting the 3.1 update as it's called online, getting the language files online, but also getting 3.5 out as soon as possible. So the game has gone live, the update has gone live in Korea a couple of weeks ago, and we're already starting the preparation to get that done. Now with 3.0 out the door, all the resources that were focused on making 3.0 localization possible will now look at 3.5. And we haven't decided on a schedule yet, but I'm really hopeful that it's going to be, as I said, much less delay than before. And I'm not going to say this year right now, but maybe I will be able to say that soon.
Okay.
Maybe. But no, there's a lot of dependency, so we have to look at it in detail, make a detailed plan. And it's always difficult in terms of when do you announce what sort of date, because if now I say, it's going to be this year, and we find out, oh, there's a major problem that we need to resolve and we can't make it this year, we would have to change it again. So I'd rather look at it in detail with the knowledge that we have from localizing 3.0 Aion update now, and then agree with the team on a date and then communicate. For 3.0 we've waited very long because there was a lot of uncertainty with 3.0 and what might still go wrong. For 3.5 we've learned all that, and so we'll be able to give a date much sooner to the players so they know when the update will be coming.
But we're talking less than a year.
to get the 3.5 update. If it's anything like a year, I'm probably going to go crazy. So absolutely, I think we're talking less than a year, unless something major happens. But no, from the way it looks like now, 3.0 was a massive update with a lot of quest content as well, new areas, new levels, so that's a lot of translation work. For 3.5, it's going to be less translation work, but more server work. So there's going to be like cross-server connection features, and that has to be implemented. But I'm very hopeful that that's going to be much less of a problem than the localization of 3.0 content. So.
Is that the famous? Is that the famous last words?
When it's done?
No. It's like I hope it's going to be better this way than it was with it.
No,
turns out.
I'm fairly certain that it will be very, very much better than 3.0. I'm not going to say this year.
Let's not commit to anything. Okay.
Exactly, but
I don't want to push you to that.
As soon as we can. We're really aware that it is a major issue for players to wait so long for content. And we feel it as well. If players aren't happy with the game, with the content, with GameForge, then it's harder for us, to enjoy our job. And we'd like to enjoy our jobs. So we're going to try and make the players happy. And if the players are happy, then we're happy. So.
I've been talking to every developer at Gamescom about free-to-play. And you guys have implemented free-to-play to Aion. And you have your own model, which is a bit different than the American one. And what you guys actually have in the shop are what the players call pay-to-win items. So what made you decide to implement that into the cash shop? And are you going to continue introducing items like that in the shop?
Well, the whole discussion about the free-to-play model, of course, and especially the question about what is pay-to-win and what isn't pay-to-win is really difficult. In general, what we did is with the gold pack, we introduced a hybrid model, as it's called. So we wanted to initially make sure that we have multiple pillars that we can base our monetization on, so that we're not just relying on pure item sales, but that we're also offering the option of a gold pack, which is like an extended trusted players program sort of thing. And also having the Aion Club, the subscription service, which we're still trying to push and improve with new added features. Simply because the risk, if you have only to rely on selling items like pets or costumes or other items that like XP bonuses, crit scrolls, etc., the risk is very high that in order to maintain your monetization or in order to stay at a healthy level where you can guarantee continued support of the game, you will eventually be forced to introduce higher monetizing items, and that is then usually pay-to-win items. Because the thing is, even though if you ask on the forums, most people will say, oh, I would like to buy a mule or a mini pet. Sorry, it's mule in German. I always get confused. A mini pet. I would like to buy costumes. Now the problem is that actually these items are selling and people are buying the costumes, but it's not enough that you could base the service for a game like Aion on it. So that's why there's other things that you introduce, like for example XP boost or drop rate increasing, etc., to make the game more accessible for players, make it easier to increase their enjoyment of the game. Exactly, convenience items. Now, also there, people already start discussing like, is it pay to win to buy an XP boost? Is it pay to win to buy a drop rate boost? It's a very low end, but that's where it starts. And so, over the time, the more items you introduce, the more potentially critical the items become. So, shortly before 3.0, we've introduced the critical spell resist scrolls, etc. And there was a lot of discussion going on also before we released the items within the team, if that is a step towards pay to win. Personally, I still think that what we're currently offering in the item shop is not pay to win, but it is a bit a question of the definition. And also with 3.0 now, for example, the crit scrolls can also be crafted in the game. So that again is something you don't have to pay in order to receive these items.
That's the big difference.
Exactly. You can also get them from within the game. Also, for example, like the socketing items we have to improve your chance of socketing and upgrading your weapon are the same that you can buy from in the game. And also many other items, and we're trying to get all of the items actually to that point, that you can buy in the shop, you can also put in the auction house. So if a player doesn't want to spend the money, the real cash money in the item shop, he also has the option to get it for in-game currency, much like we do with the Gold Pack. But of course, I think the discussion about pay-to-win will remain forever as long as the free-to-play is happening. And it's only going to stop at 2 points. Point one is if the game in maybe 10, 12, 15 years from now stops being serviced, then people will stop discussing about pay-to-win. Or if we decide to say that, yes, we are now pay-to-win, which I'm not planning and which is not going to happen. But that's the only 2 points. Until then, people will always discuss about that. And personally, I think, isn't maybe a costume already pay to win? Think about I create a female character by a pretty skimpy dress. I make huge eyes to the man players. They give me Kina. I buy the weapons. I go to PvP. I kill them because of that costume. I know it's just an example, but that kind of shows how wide range the pay to win discussion is. And the point for me is I'm saying this now, and I'm saying this on the forum. Currently, I do not consider us or the Aion shop being pay to win in any way. I don't want it to become pay to win, and I will do whatever I can in my power as long as I'm working for Aion to keep it that way, for it not to be pay to win. And that's, as I explained, is one of the reasons why we have the mechanic of the Gold Pack, of the subscription system, just to continue supporting that system without pay to win items. Because the problem with pay to win is that people pay for it. People complain about it, but if we were to sell items that people consider pay to win, we would see that
best in slot items.
It's the best selling items in the end, probably. But still, I feel and I think that in terms of long-term health for a game, not having pay to win items is the right way to go, and so we will continue going that way. So with any other items that we add to the shop, any mini pet, any costume, any XP boost, if that sells well, it gives us some more weeks that we are not in any way forced to consider adding something that we do not want to add to the game. So if you ask for a costume and we give you a costume, buy that costume. That helps to keep the game free of any items that may be considered critical.
Okay, so I wanted to ask about veteran rewards phase 2. A lot of players are asking about that. Is that coming? How soon is that coming? And other things that events and stuff like that players have been waiting for a long time. How is that coming along?
Well, Veteran Rewards Phase 2 is on the way. Phase 1 took a long time because we had to adapt to the NC West system and NC West data. Veteran Phase 2 is going to be a lot quicker, hopefully. Again, here much of the preparation is already done and we're waiting for the final approval internally that we can continue with that. But we're looking at weeks in terms of that rather than months. Also, events is something that we've done a lot of things in the past couple of weeks. We've had like GM moderated events, but also prepared events from NCSoft, and that's also something where we've learned a lot about the last couple of weeks. So we're going to use that knowledge to in the future be able to create more events and promote them better, and just make sure that more things are happening to keep the players entertained. And that's happening in really all the aspects of the products, be it events, be it localization, be it news and community management, forum, etc. So we're learning as we go along, and we're always using that to get better and better. And we're seeing an upward trend in all aspects. We've got 2 big topics out of the way, 3.0 and Veteran Rewards Phase 1. So I've got really high hopes that the coming weeks and months will be very interesting, very entertaining, and things will be a lot quicker, less painful for all the players, so everyone can have more fun.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.